As always, it is my pleasure that you join me for today's podcast of Second Chance Coaching. My name is Dr. Richard Lewis. If you'd be so kind as to leave me a rating and your feedback, I would very much appreciate it, and it will help others like you to optimally discover this podcast wherever you listen to this and your other favorite podcast. As you know, at Second Chance Coaching, we focus on seeing everyday life through the eyes of the returning citizen and highlighting the resiliency of the human spirit. I would love to work with you one-on-one, whether you're a returning citizen or coaching client seeking your second chance, or you're a representative of a business, college, or university seeking to integrate and support returning citizens in your respective organizational and learning environments. Please feel free to contact me via email at richard@secondchancecoaching.com or via Instagram at the Dr. Richard Lewis. Welcome again to another edition of Second Chance Coaching. As always, it is my pleasure to join you on another week of your reentry journey from whichever corner of the world you're listening from. We always remain humble and excited that you decided to spend part of your week with us. So today I want to take the time to wish all of you a very happy new year and the best wishes for a healthy, prosperous, and dynamic 2024. So excited that, a new year has come upon us. But now that we started 2024 and we're a couple of days into the new year, we're about 3 days into the new year, are you still excited? Have you still stuck with your New Year's resolutions? Are you still doing that thing that you want to do new? Are you still going to the gym? Have you still given up smoking? Whatever. Have you stopped cursing? Whatever it is that you chose to do, are you still stuck with those resolutions? Sometimes those resolutions don't last a long time, but I am confident that you're probably going to stick with them and stick to do something new and something different. But for me, resolutions is a different thing. I stopped doing resolutions a long time ago. And intentionally, every year, I would say over the last 10 years, I just kind of really intentionally, like I said, intentionally stayed away from resolutions or a single resolution. And I would break out the old notebook. Of course, I always talk about breaking out the old notebook when you want to write or do something new. And I would write down so many goals and objectives that I wanted to achieve. I really wanted to write them down. So as I've said in past podcasts, to make those real. And it would also help me to keep myself accountable by tracking the goals on a daily basis. And that's something that's so important to me and something continue to be important for me now in 2024. But before we continue to talk about you and I and what we have in store for 2024, let's catch up regarding Christmas. I want to say that this past Christmas break was, I would say, one of the top 2 best holiday breaks I've spent in the last couple of years. I'd say the last 4 or 5 years. In 2019, I had an impromptu trip to see my sister and niece in North Carolina. I had not planned to see them for Christmas, but something I enjoyed in 2019, this is the first year that Mom had passed away, and I enjoyed that dynamic of having Thanksgiving with them so much. I said, no, I want to see them for Christmas. And it was a short trip, but I enjoyed it, and I completely loved the time that I had with them. So that was just needed for me. I'm quite sure probably needed for them as well. But this past year, as I indicated, my daughter invited me to spend Christmas with her and my granddaughter, her husband. And because my birthday is so close to Christmas, I got to spend part of my birthday with them as well. And I tell you, between the food, the laughter, watching television, playing games, I just thoroughly enjoyed my daughter, my son-in-law, and of course the main event, my granddaughter. My granddaughter had so much energy. Loved to take pictures, and she had me reading books to her every chance she had. Short of my sister and niece and the twins being there, it was an absolutely perfect Christmas. I want to say to my daughter, to my son-in-law, and Pepper's grandbaby, my granddaughter, thank you for hosting me. Thank you for allowing me into your home and to have a good time with you, showing me a lot of love. I will carry that feeling with me always. It made the season just such a wonderful part, and just carrying that feeling and that spirit, that joy, it just meant so much more than words could even express. But speaking of carrying things with me, my granddaughter and I also took some great pictures, great pictures. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see some of those pictures that were there. But one of these pictures was just so adorable. My granddaughter was laughing and putting her hand above her face, like playing peekaboo. And if I do say so myself, I knew that that picture was so nice. I was going to have that picture printed and framed. I was going to do it. I shared that with one of my friends, and I was fortunate enough to have one of my friends just proactively print and frame one of those because they were so enamored by the picture. They thought it was so great. They were like, no, we're going to have this done right now. And that picture was framed, and it was graciously given to me. Now it's sitting in my living room where I could look at it all the time. I also took a lot of these pictures that we took over the break, and I have them as part of my photo screensavers, like the photos that when you don't have on my smart TV, when you don't have your TV going for a while, and then pictures go up there to sit there and be to act as screensavers. So I now have that on the rotation of screensavers on my smart television. So I'm so excited. Just an exciting time and just a great time to be with them and to share those memories. I would also like to speak to you about the condo board. The condo board, seems like I give the weekly update. Somebody texted me last week and said, no, we want to get a weekend, another update about the condo board. And, even in the holiday season, they even started with their text messaging, all negative talks the very next day after Christmas. Like they didn't even hesitate. I think they might have said, let's take one day to be easy, but then on December 26th, we're gonna just come up and we're just gonna put coal in everyone's stocking, whatever the case may be. But uh 2024, I'm just confident will be a better year for us. And you know, one of those better aspects to the year will naturally be things going better with the condo board. I figured let me just do a couple of proactive things to try to make things a little better. But I won't concentrate too much on that now. I mean, there'll be plenty of time that we could talk about the condo board, but there are definitely things in place, and I'm trying to make it a little better, hopefully, as we go into 2020, continue to go into 2024. But as I indicated earlier, let's get back to talking about what's in store for 2024. The last 10 years or so, maybe even a little more than that if I really thought about it, I really have stayed away from resolutions or coming up with a single resolution, and have really just outlined many goals and objectives to work towards every day of the calendar year. And I'd say in the past years, I might have had an average of about 15 to 18 goals and objectives that I would write out and that I'd want to work on. And I would say on average, I would achieve about 15 of the 18 goals and objectives in a given year. So what I outlined was really an average of 83.3% of goals and objectives I achieved, which, that's pretty good. 83% of what you wanted to set out, you did. That's pretty good. But I could say this past year, when I looked at my goals and objectives that I set for myself for 2023, I had about 18 goals and objectives I set out for 2023, but I only achieved 9 of them. When I looked at what I achieved, I did that right before New Year's Eve, and I just said, wow, I only achieved 9. That was only, when I was honest with myself, I only achieved 50% of those goals. Now, myself or one could look at that percentage, only 50%, as a failure in comparison to 83% in previous years. But when I look at those 9 accomplishments, as far as what did I actually achieve and what each of them carried, that each of those carried a lot of weight. And those 9 accomplishments made a real difference in my quality of life. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but it doesn't mean that the 9 things that I didn't accomplish weren't important to me or I did not want to accomplish them. But I looked at the quality of what I accomplished in addition to the quantity of what I accomplished or what I was attempting to accomplish. So when you're looking at your goals and objectives, you might write down a lot of things and you may get frustrated about how much you didn't achieve, but also look at the quality of what you achieved. And when I share the goals and objectives with you that I have for 2024, as you develop your goals and objectives for 2024, look at the quality of each of them. So sometimes people may laugh when I say this, but let's say you have 18 goals and objectives. But sometimes, even if you accomplish just one of them, percentage wise, you'll say, man, I didn't accomplish a lot. Well, that one was incredible. What if the one goal and accomplishment you had was, you know what? I got out of prison this year. My goal and objective is to not be rearrested. I'm not going back to prison this year. And let's say you achieved nothing else. To not be rearrested and to not go back to prison after you've been released, that's a big goal and objective. That's huge. That's great. That's big. And that's a great starting point. Now, as it pertains to, once again, we were talking about my 2024 goals and objectives. And once again, I'm challenging you to sit there and come up with them. Even though we're in day 3 of 2024, you could sit there and develop your 2024 goals and objectives as well. In my case, once again, break out the old notebook, I write them down, and I document and save them as an appointment on my smartphone or iPad, because I also want to have that pop up, that daily reminder every day of what it is that I'm trying to achieve. So this year, I documented 20 goals and objectives for 2024. I repeat, goals and objectives, I want to sit there and have them always pop up and repeating and, want them repeating on my phone so they're constantly reminding me of what's going on. The 20 goals and objectives, the way in which I develop them, I certainly write down goals and objectives that I want to stay repeating in my life, that I always want to continue to achieve. I certainly add new objectives as the years necessitate, and then I roll over those goals and objectives that I didn't complete in 2023. So, like for example, the 9 that I didn't complete, they're part of the 9 that I have. They're part of the 9 of the 20 that I'm doing this year. So, certainly, let's go through my 2024 goals and objectives. There are 20 of them. So I want to share them with you as far as what it is that I want to do. So let's start with number 1. My number 1, number 1, not in terms of order as far as preference, but it's just what I listed. But number 1, I want to maintain and strengthen my relationship and connection with God. I want to maintain and strengthen my relationship and connection with God. Very important. That's an objective. Number 2, I want to speak truth to power and always exercise moral courage. Sometimes it's hard to have difficult conversations with friends, family, loved ones, colleagues, especially in a work environment. You want to speak truth to power. You want to exercise moral courage and say, you know what, this is right or this is wrong. Number 3, I always want to do better today than I did yesterday. Whatever I did yesterday, that's okay. I'm going to do better tomorrow. I'm going to do better today. Always want to do that. Number 4, don't sweat the small stuff. Concentrate on only important matters. Some of these steps are kind of repetitive and intertwined with each other, but it's important. I don't want to sweat the small stuff. I want to concentrate on what's important. Number 5, I want to concentrate on my total health and wellness. I want to make sure that I'm keeping a clip of working out 4 times a week and minimum doing an average of 10,000 steps a day, minimum, every day for 2024. Number 6, start out each day performing my daily morning prayers and meditation. Very important. Number 7, I'm going to always reclaim and be very selective about my personal time. Between working, teaching, being at the airport, consulting, when I want to do self-care and be selective about my personal time, I want to be very intentional when it comes to that. Number 8, living by my fundamental finance formula. Whatever money I get, 75% goes towards living expenses, 15% goes towards short-term savings, and 10% goes towards long-term savings. Number 9, I want to sit there and pay off my credit card consolidation. I will be paying that off this year in April, and I will be reclaiming a significant amount of money off of my overhead. Funny enough, that credit card consolidation that I'll be paying off will be paid off on April 30th on the Namdi's birthday. How about that? So number 10, 11, and 12 have to do with things that I want to do 30 minutes a day that I want to do daily. So number 10, spending 30 minutes a day reading a book. Number 11, 30 minutes a day on Babbel, learning new words in Haitian Creole and learning new words in Spanish. 30 minutes a day. Number 12, 30 minutes a day writing, continuing to write this memoir that I have so many notes on that I should have been writing and getting it done with already. Number 13, continuing to build the consulting business, continuing to build the podcast. Once again, repeating myself, writing and getting this book done. Number 14, continue to build and develop multiple streams of income and supplemental employment. I've already achieved that. As I shared with you guys last week or the week before, I have a new adjunct teaching position at a local state university here in South Florida. So that's another stream of income being built. Number 15, I started taking a class last year about getting my claims adjuster's license, insurance claims adjuster's license. I didn't follow up on it, but I'm going to look to continue to finish and complete that online class. Number 16, certainly continue to look at easier options for supplemental employment as far as remote options, continue to expand coaching and consulting and other forms of supplemental employment. Speaking of supplemental employment, as you guys know, I work at the airport. And then in April, when the credit card consolidation pays off, that was the time that I was going to say, okay, well, I won't work at the airport anymore. I'll be done with working at the airport because I achieved what it is that I wanted to achieve when I started working at that job two and a half years ago. By then would be 2.5 years going back working at the airport. But I've enjoyed working at the airport. I enjoy the people that I work with there. And certainly while I've achieved that goal, so certainly now, in these times of inflation, you certainly want to continue to build a rainy day fund. So definitely it's something that I'll certainly continue to do. Number 17, concentrate on being peaceful and always on self-improvement. So, and not only concentrate, but actually enact it and really sit there and do it. Number 18, continue to live in wisdom, courage, having a tough mindset, but a tender heart. Number 19, drink 2 water bottles per day. Drink 2 water bottles per day between working out and just activity, making sure that I get enough water intake. Not Gatorade, not soda, not coffee, not juice, but water, actual water. That's important. And number 20, take 1 international trip this year and at least 2 family trips to make sure that I see Julian and Janelle and my sister, my niece, and make sure I see the twins, things of that nature, making sure that I do that. So next year, when we're getting into 2025, I'm going to review this 20 and I'll sit there and say, okay, I achieved this, I achieved that, and what it is that I achieved, and continue to sit there and check those off. Wanted to share a couple of programming notes with you in regards to the podcast before we sign off for today. So, we're in the midst of season 5, and we are committed to doing 20 episodes. One episode we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. We'll be doing 1 week. We'll be doing 2 episodes. So then January 17th will be our last, not our last episode for season 5, but it will constitute our mid-season break. So January 17th we will take our January 17th will be our final episode before our mid-season break, and then we'll have a 7-week break, and then we will resume season 5 on March 13th. And then on March 13th, we'll have our last 5 episodes of season 5, which will conclude season 5 on April 10th, and then we'll take our summer hiatus. But think about, not only am I going to sit there and be intentional about what's in store for me in 2024, but think about what's in store for you for 2024. So think about, as we go through these last couple of weeks before we get into our mid-season break, what are you going to work on for 2024? What are you going to be doing for 2024? And then when we have our 7-week break, think about how have you implemented those. So when we come back, let's check on how you're doing. See how you're doing. Talk to me during the 7 weeks hiatus and say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We're taking care of business. So 2024 is exciting. I'm so excited about this new year, as I am about every year. It's a new season of opportunity, new season of life, new season of energy, new season of hope, new season of prosperity. So let's get after that season together. I want to always thank you for taking the time to share with me. You could be doing so many other things, but you're taking time. You're taking 15 to 20 minutes or so per week to share your time with me. And thank you for, in addition to that time, to continue to spread the second chance coaching dynamic to your friends and your family and loved ones. Let them know about the podcast. Let them know about what we're doing. And if there's a way we could help somebody, let them know that we could help them. So I'm looking so forward to it. Excited for our 2024. But thank you again for joining us, and I certainly look forward to spending more time with you next week. Thank you again for joining us here at Second Chance Coaching. In addition to coaching services for individuals and businesses, I'm also available for speaking engagements and workshops on criminal justice reentry, human resources, as well as organizational culture and leadership. Feel free to email me at richard@secondchancecoaching.com, as well as connect with me on Instagram at @DrRichardLewis. Remember, every day you are given this opportunity for your second chance, and I know you'll make the best of it. I love you all, and I look forward to connecting with you next time here at Second Chance Coaching.